Chapter 4. The scenery flowed as the girl followed her, and Suotaro heard the metallic sound of the floor being trodden in a princess's carry. Through the door, and out into the corridor. The inside of the building was as white as Suotaro had imagined from the view outside, with beautiful carpets stretching far ahead, and candelabras lined up in a regular pattern. I think Dullahan was mentioned in a strategy page as a boss mob that appears at the Kiln Cemetery. Right now, Suotaro was playing dead. He concluded it was impossible to escape from the massive building, the roaming monsters, and most of all, from the boss mob who following the girl. Silently, the headless knight in dingy golden armor marches on. As Suotaro correctly guessed, Dullahan is an area boss in the Kiln Cemetery, far north of the metropolis of Aristolis. It is an undead mob that can be challenged by an average level 30 party of 6 players. In addition to the orthodox fire, water, earth, wind, light, and darkness, there are also wood, ice, holy, and undead attributes. Undead mobs are considered to be troublesome because they can only be defeated by fire or holy attacks. And even worse, its boss trait halves all attacks from the mobs of the same level or lower. Because of this, they were shunned by many players. There are 3 types of jobs that can use mobs, for example as summoner, tamer, and shaman, but during the 1-month beta test period, no one was able to tame a boss class mob. And Suotaro, who had been reading many articles, was well aware of the strange things about this girl. It's the fact that she can command a Dullahan. Is she a summoner whose power is dependent on magic? But evidently, she has enough strength to throw that massive axe from earlier. If she indeed has both, it means she is fairly high level. Now that he had convinced himself that he couldn't escape, the only thing Suotaro could do was be taken obediently in the hope he wouldn't get killed. Elid, I'm coming in. Yes, please do. Theodore is here too. After a brief exchange through the closed door, the heavy door opened, and a space surrounded by bookshelves filled Suotaro's field of vision. It was a room with a red carpet stretched out, and one could see at the end of it, there's a throne resting at the top of the few steps. The room is also tremendously spacious. Wow, it has more books than a school library. Being young, Suotaro does not know much about the world. And he was amazed by sight lies before him. A black-haired knight stands with his back rested on the wall, observing Suotaro with only his face moving. He has beautiful black hair and golden eyes. From his appearance alone, he is probably about 30 years old. A sharp eye, with a scar over his right eye and beautifully carved silver armor. He was also clad in pressure equal to, or greater than the white girl. When Suotaro saw the massive sword on his back, a chill ran down his spine. Welcome. Then, please come this way. A man in a butler's uniform who was sitting on the throne stood up. This one is a lovely young man of about 20 years old, with white skin, blue hair, and red eyes. Suotaro was a little relieved that he did not face another needle-like pressure like the girler that night, and after a short while, the man in the butler's suit and Dullahan crossed paths, and Suotaro was made to sit on the throne. Dullahan, having finished his role, walks back to the door. While Suotaro is unable to grasp the situation, the black-haired knight opens his mouth to voice his displeasure. Have you proved it? Yes, unfortunately. I see. As the white girl replies, the black-haired knight folds his arms and falls silent again. The man in the butler's uniform proceeds to explain to Suotaro. It appears that you don't understand anything. It's reasonable, but we also haven't figured everything out yet. How about we start by introducing ourselves to each other? Even though the man in the butler's uniform was smiling all the time, Suotaro couldn't help but notice the eerie aura emanating from that smile. Possibly taking Suotaro's silence as confirmation, the man resumed his speech after doing a gentleman's bow. I am Elid, the first-ranked demon king of Las Mayolas Castle. Suotaro wrinkled his brow and picked his ear. He thought he heard something ominous. Feeling relieved, as if something had been stuck in his ears had been removed, Suotaro got ready to listen again. The white girl is the second-ranked demon king, Bumpy. He, with black hair, is the 5th-ranked demon king Theodore. 3 other demon kings also reside in this castle, but I have not invited them here. Please understand. Wait. What is demon king? The man in the butler's uniform, Elid, would have proceeded without stopping if he had remained silent, so Suotaro summoned up his courage and cut off the conversation. The demon king is the king of the races that are classified as demons, and since all of the people living in this castle are kings of different races, they all call themselves demon kings. Elid did not understand the intent of Suotaro's question. Still, he explained it as an extension of his self-introduction. Bumpy, the white girl, and Theodore, the black-haired knight, listened to their conversation in silence. And why am I sitting here instead of those demon kings? No matter how kind this demon is to Suotaro, The other party is a king, and from the looks of it, except for the girl, they are older than him, so it is strange for Sudaro to be the one looking down on them. Sudaro thought so. For that matter, I have no answer other than you are our lord and master. Sudaro wrinkled his brow and picked his ear. This time, not even a speck of earwax is removed. As for the reason why I ended up with that idea, it is because the dead gate is not opened yet. It also means that you are here ignoring the one and only way to get in and out of this place. You cannot come here unless you pass through that gate. If it weren't for the hole in the sky that appeared at the same time you arrived in this place, this was supposed to be a completely enclosed space. Sudaro surely had an idea of what El had said without changing his expression. If the small moon he saw in the sky when he first woke up was not the moon, but a hole in the sky with light shining in from the outside, then it would explain it. Was it a hole made by the skill he used at that time? The dungeon creation skill. And about the dead gate, is that the gate Sudaro saw when he looked out of the building in the air a few minutes ago. All the people here have a level over 100, but you have negated all of our unique skills, magic, and even physical attacks in an unconscious state, and that was only possible if we have familiar bond. If a beta tester were here, they would have collapsed with happiness over this information, but Sudaro could not take it because his head was ready to explode from information overload. With an anxious look on his face, Sudaro displayed the skill from the menu screen and read the explanation again. Dungeon creation generates a dungeon underground at the location where it is used. During the creation, there's a small chance of getting a treasure. If, hypothetically, this place existed under that tree. Was it possible that this building is counted as an extension of the dungeon or a treasure? Sudaro concluded that it was a possibility. However, he was not ready for this. All of this information only bring misery to his mind. Our king, we hereby pledge our obedience to you, to be your shield and your halberd. The three of them dropped to one knee and bowed their heads, just as the monsters had done in the spooky room.